We are here for another round of A Course in Miracles. So thank you everyone for being here. We've got a small group here, but hey, where two or more are joined, I'm just gonna go with that axiom, with that truism, and say we've got enough to have a wonderful evening together. And this is the Unity of Livonia A Course in Miracles Study Group. It is Tuesday, April 8th. So we've time stamped our meeting. So we're good there. But Karen, you're brand new. So let me just say, maybe you heard me comment. I look forward to having a wonderful time together. If you don't know about A Course in Miracles, um, everything in there is wonderful. I mean, it only talks about wonderful things. So, kind of despite all difficulties and things that we see in our everyday life, A Course in Miracles tells a significantly different story about what life really is. Now, and the rest of you guys, you're kind of old timers with A Course, but give me a minute. Let me talk with Karen, kind of set the tone here for a minute. A Course in Miracles, let me start here, says that the world is an illusion, that we're living in a simulation. Do you ever see that movie, The Matrix? Okay, where we're living in an unreality. And what gives A Course in Miracles a lot of credence with saying this is that it's said to be written by Jesus Christ. And it was done through a channeling. You know what I mean, channel? Okay. It was a channeling to a woman by the name of Helen Schuckman. Helen Schuckman was a professor of clinical psychology at Columbia University in New York. Very prominent, as you might imagine, being at Columbia. But something weird started happening to her. She started having some dreams and stuff like that that were extraordinary. And then one day she heard a voice, and the voice said, "This is A Course in Miracles. Please take notes." And the voice was very nice, very kind, but extremely persistent. It would just keep asking her to do this. And finally, she was a bit perturbed by the voice she kept hearing, because psychologists aren't supposed to hear voices. That's what they help patients with. Besides that, at that point in her life, she was an atheist. But given the voice and some other things that was said, long story short, the voice came to claim to be the voice of Jesus Christ. And so she finally was going crazy about it to the point that she talked to her boss at work and told her what was happening. And they pulled down the shades because, again, psychologists don't hear voices, right? So her boss said, here's a suggestion. Why don't you just do what it says and write down what it's saying, and maybe it'll leave you alone? So she said, okay, I'll try it. And she started writing. The voice told her exactly what to say. And she ended up writing for 7 years, from 1965 to 1972. And the resultant writing is called A Course in Miracles. Some people say that it is the modern day teachings of Jesus. So that's kind of my broad introduction to A Course in Miracles. The rest of you, all of you are familiar with the course. Anything you want to say about it in addition to what I've offered? I'll be doing a little more orientation, but anything y'all want to say right now?
I've read many books about it. It's been very helpful.
Okay. You mean like what books, Frank?
The Disappearance of the Universe.
Yeah. Okay.
Another book
Yeah.
by a man who the A Course in Miracles Made Easy. I read that one.
Yeah, is that Alan Cohen that
Yes,
wrote
Alan
it,
Cohen.
right? So there are the course right now uh, has been translated, Karen, into almost 30 different languages. And there are probably about 3.5 million copies in print around the world. So a lot of people still have never even heard of it. But when you consider it was published in 1976, it has quite a large following and it's growing. And Jesus offers a completely different take on religion and spirituality. So I won't belabor it any further. Let me just do this. We study the entire A Course in Miracles from cover to cover. So let me share screen here and give you an idea of what this process is like. Okay, let me see if I can get this where we can all see it. Oh no, James, get your fingers together. All right, so I'm going to make it bigger as well. And let's see how that looks. Can y'all read this?
Yes.
Okay. So here's kind of the big picture, Karen. I don't want to scare you away, but this book altogether is maybe, with everything, about 1,300 pages. Okay. So we do a study cycle, and first we do the main body of A Course in Miracles that was first published in 1976. And then a few years later, the voice came back to Helen again and offered two supplements called, one is called Psychotherapy, and the other is called The Song of Prayer. So the most recent volumes of A Course in Miracles include not only the regular one, but also include these two supplements. Remember, I asked you to get the third edition? Do you have it? So when you look at the front cover, does it say supplements also on the front cover, right?
Yes.
Okay. So this, in addition to being a lot of pages, is also some deep material. Wouldn't you say, ladies and gentlemen? It's pretty deep.
Yeah.
Very deep. Very deep.
So all of that to say, it takes us 15 months to do a cover-to-cover study. So the main A Course in Miracles has a preface, like most books, right? After that, there's a text, a section or section of the book called the text. And Karen, if you look at your book, at the top left of every page, it'll give you what chapter it is. Okay. When you get, now that goes for about 600 and something pages. After that, there's a section called the workbook for students. At the top of those pages, it'll say workbook for students. At the top left, do you see that? There are 365 lessons in this workbook, essentially one lesson a day for a year. After that, there's something called the Manual for Teachers, where Jesus answers some questions that course students start to have as they progress in their studies. I think Ron just came in, so bear with me here. Let me see what I can see if I'm gonna do something special. Bear with me here. Ron, are you here? Ron? Hold on, folks. Technical difficulties tonight. Let me just stop sharing. Okay, we're trying to get Ron in. We had some trouble last night getting Ron in. Maybe his wife will come and help him again, right, Sherilyn? You were here last night. So while that is going on, let's finish up what we were doing. And the Manual for Teachers, basically, there are like 29 questions that Jesus puts out the questions and answers them. And finally, there's a section called the clarification of terms. Now, we will do this study, the main study, in 12 months. And after that, we'll take about 90 days to do the two supplements, about 3 months. So that's where I'm coming up with 15 months. You okay with that?
Sounds good to me, man.
All right. So I'll need you to do the very best you can as we go along. As I mentioned, we also have a day-by-day study schedule. And I'm going to pull that up and see if I can help us to make sense of it. If we can get that going. All right. Now, this is what I sent you guys, right?
Mhm.
Everybody got it or no or what?
Yes.
All right.
I didn't find it yet, but I will. It's if you emailed it.
Okay.
I have.
All right. Good deal. So let me, for Karen again, and maybe for all of us, try and clarify how this works. This is how we're going to go through the course. And in the first column, it says what week it is. And the next column is the start date for that week. And then it tells us day by day what we should be reading. Like this is 4-8. Can you all see that?
Mm-hmm.
4-8-25. We're in chapter 1 of the text. Now remember, there are 31 chapters. So this week, we're going to do two things. Every week, we're doing two things. First, we're going to read some of the text. And we're going to do a lesson a day. So for this week, starting April 8th, we will complete the chapter 1 called The Meaning of Miracles. And we're also going to do the preface and get that out of the way tonight. But starting Thursday, it says text chapter 1, section 1. Friday, text chapter 1, section 2, and then section 3. Do you see on Sunday, though, I gave you 2 sections to read, 4 and 5. And on Monday of next week, you'll finish chapter 1, sections 6 and 7. How am I doing so far? Can you unmute and just, you have any questions?
No, I think I got it.
All right. How about the rest of you?
Yes.
All right.
Sure.
I know you've
We
been,
got it.
but here's the thing. Generally, I don't ask you, did you read your lesson and did you do your readings this week? You never hear me ask you that, do you?
No, not really.
How about you, Frank?
I didn't hear what you said, Jim.
You notice I never pressure
don't ask me when we
you
read it.
to read every day.
Yeah, I'm following the schedule.
Okay, great. So it is important, though, that you make your best effort to follow this schedule. And I think you'll benefit from it greatly. I'm going to stop this because I don't want to get in trouble here. It can get bogged down. But again, one last thing for Karen. I just wanted to ask her, or ask the rest of you, what would you tell her? Is it worthwhile to do this study? Has it been worthwhile for you?
Yes, it can seem like quite a challenge, Jim, at the beginning.
Yes.
Okay. So why do you do it?
I want to learn it.
Why? I'm not just talking to Frank, just anybody. What have you gotten from this study?
It makes more sense to me than my original knowledge
Okay.
about the Bible and such.
Okay, I got you. Hilda, comment from you?
Actually, as far as I'm concerned, I mean, it just totally changed the way I look at life.
Yes.
And I, as the course later on, we get into this and saying it is the practice that's really important. I'm a little amiss with the text because it's long and hard and difficult. And, this is why I think this is the third time or fourth time now that I'm doing this. And the text, there's always something that either I didn't read or I didn't understand. But I love the workbook and I love the affirmations. I call them affirmations, just like we do in Unity, that make you look at the world, at life in a positive way rather than see the underbelly of society.
Indeed. Let me stop sharing here and get a different view so we can see everyone. Yeah, it offers a whole different way of seeing things. And as weird as it sounds at first, if you just let him keep talking and explaining, pretty soon it makes a whole lot of sense. So, with that said, why don't we just get into some of this? I think that's probably the best thing is to go ahead and get started. And so I may just switch up our agenda a little bit, the one I send every week. So I hope it's okay and that you'll bear with me. What we're going to do is start reading, okay? And the way we do that is I get a reading list together. Frank, are you reading tonight?
I'll try. I'm having some vision problems. I'll try it.
You want to pass or you
But
good?
no, I have an allergy problem, but I'll try. I'll try anyway.
Okay. All right. Karen, would you like to read? Okay. And Hilda, are you reading or not reading?
Well, I can endeavor to do
All right.
it. I'll try.
All right. So
Frank and I have issues.
yeah, well, that's all right. We're an easy group, right?
Yes.
So Frank is 1, Karen is 2, Hilda is 3, Sherilyn is 4, and oh, Ron is here. Did your wife have to help you?
Uh-huh.
I forgot. Good evening. Good to see you again. What's
I
your?
don't know what I'd do without her.
I see what you mean. What's your wife's name?
Linda.
Linda.
Hi, Linda.
Hi, Linda.
Hi there.
Yeah, I'm so glad you're here to help this guy out every week. Okay. Have a good
I
evening.
just helped him with this new car too.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Good night.
Good choice, Ron.
Thank
Good
you.
choice.
Yes.
Anyhow, we were, let's see, Ron, Karen Grobel is brand new to A Course in Miracles. So
Hi, Karen. Hi, Karen. Nice to meet you.
yeah, we just spent a considerable time kind of orienting her, and we were just getting ready to dive into our study. So I'll put you down as reader 5 after Sherilyn, okay?
Okay.
I lost my primary place, didn't I?
Oh, you did.
Yeah, well,
At any
what I get
rate,
for being late.
there's always next time.
Yes.
I do the list of readers depending on when they come on Zoom. So at any rate, what I want to do is let's get started with the preface to A Course in Miracles. And that starts page Roman numeral 7. Can y'all find it?
Yes.
Everybody there? All
Yep.
right. So let's, Spirit, take us in again. We're ready. Frank, would you please start with the preface?
Okay.
And just read a little until you feel like stopping. How's that?
Okay, preface. The preface was written in 1977 in response to many requests for a brief introduction to A Course in Miracles. The first two parts, how it came, well, I'm having trouble with small print, what it is. Helen Schuckman wrote herself, the final year.
No. Yes, the final part.
Final part. What it says was written by the process of interdictation described in the preface.
All right.
The chapter about the paragraph, how it came.
All right.
A Course in Miracles began with a sudden decision of two people to join in a common goal. Their names were Helen Schuckman and William Thetford, professors of medical psychology at Columbia University's College of Physicians and Surgeons in New York City. It does not matter what they were, except that the story shows that with God, all things are possible. They were anything but spiritual. Their relationship with each other was difficult and often strained, and they were concerned with personal and professional acceptance and status. In general, they had considerable investment in the values of the world. Their lives are hardly in accord with anything that the Course advocates. Helen, the one who accepted the material, describes herself psychologist, educator, conservative in theory, and atheist in belief. I was working in a prestigious and highly academic setting, and then something happened that triggered a chain of events I could never have predicted. The head of my department unexpectedly announced that he was tired of the angry and aggressive feelings our attitudes reflected, and concluded that there must be another way. As if on cue, I agreed to help him find it. Apparently, this course is the other way.
Okay. Shall we go to Karen? You want to do that next part here?
You're muted, Karen.
She's muted.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Go right ahead, dear.
We've all
All
done
right.
that.
Although their intention was serious, they had great difficulty in starting out on their joint venture. But they had given the Holy Spirit the little willingness that, as the Course itself was to emphasize again and again, is sufficient to enable him to use any situation for his purposes and provide it with his power. To continue Helen's first person account, 3 startling months preceded the actual writing, during which time Bill suggested that I write down the highly symbolic dreams and descriptions of the strange images that were coming to me. Although I had grown more accustomed to the unexpected by that time, I was still very surprised when I wrote, "This is A Course in Miracles." That was my introduction to the voice. It made no sound, but seemed to be giving me a kind of rapid inner dictation, which I took down in a shorthand notebook. The writing was never automatic. It could be interpreted at any time, interrupted at any time and later picked up again. It made me very uncomfortable, but it never seriously occurred to me to stop. It seemed to be a special assignment I had somehow, somewhere, agreed to complete. It represented a truly collaborative venture between Bill and myself, and much of its significance, I am sure, lies in that. I would take down what the voice said and read it to him the next day, and he typed it from my dictation. I expect he had his special assignment too. Without his encouragement and support, I would never have been able to fulfill mine. The whole process took about 7 years. The text came first, and then the workbook for students, and finally the manual for teachers. Only a few minor changes have been made. Chapter titles and subheadings have been inserted in the text, and some of the more personal references that occurred at the beginning have been omitted. Otherwise, the material is substantially unchanged. The names of the collaborators in the recording of the course do not appear on the cover because the course can and should stand on its own. It is not intended to become the basis for another cult. Its only purpose is to provide a way in which some people will be able to find their own internal teacher.
Okay. Questions, comments so far on this section? Okay.
I have a comment for Karen, just so you know that what we read normally is not as long as what you read. These are long paragraphs, long passages,
okay.
and that's not the normal
Yeah.
situation. So
Okay.
don't be scared away.
Okay.
Yeah, the preface is in a little different format than the rest of the course. So thanks a lot for that, Ron. We don't want to scare her away.
It was helpful when you gave a little introduction, because I did read the preface before this meeting,
Okay.
and I guess I was a little confused. In the page where it says to enable him to use any situation for his purpose and to provide it with his power. And I was like, okay, well, who's he? That's the voice. I didn't realize that's Jesus. So that makes way more sense.
All right. Yeah. Good deal. Frank?
My impression from reading this paragraph that Bill seems almost as much a co-author, although Helen got the voice in her head of Jesus. Mm-hmm. Bill is almost like he automatically was used by the Holy Spirit to be co-author in a sense in typing up the course. Yeah. Even though he didn't receive the material, he indirectly did get it, and then the Holy Spirit was using him.
Yeah. So they formed a very unlikely partnership.
Right.
Because they didn't even like each other.
Right.
Very competitive environment, and the whole atmosphere, academics, intellectuals, egos, right?
Yes.
So it was very surprising. For some reason at this time, both Helen and Bill, something told them to work together. So the whole thing is spooky, but I'm a Bible student, and it says God works in mysterious ways. So when you see something that mysterious, your probably flags are going, that's weird. So let's see where this goes, right, guys?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Our next reader, Hildegard.
Okay. What it is, it's the title, as the title implies, the course is arranged throughout as a teaching device. It consists of 3 books, a 669-page text, a 488-page workbook for students, and a 92-page manual for teachers. The order in which students choose to use the books and the ways in which they study them depend on their particular needs and preferences. And I think this was important, like for Karen to know, that this is not a dogmatic one thing after the other. The curriculum the course proposes is carefully conceived and is explained step by step at both the theoretical and practical levels. It emphasizes application rather than theory and experience rather than theology. It specifically states that a universal theology is impossible, but a universal experience is not only possible but necessary. And it refers to manual page 77. Although Christian in statement, the course deals with universal spiritual themes. It emphasizes that it is but one version of the universal curriculum. There are many others, this one differing from them only in form. They all lead to God in the end.
Yeah, let's stop here for just a minute. Anything y'all want to say? Anything that resonated or you had a question about here? Okay. And so you'll see it talks about how the course is arranged. What's a teaching device?
A tool.
That in that first paragraph, it's a teaching. Yeah, someone said something, Hilda?
Yeah, I said it's a tool. A device is something that you use to make us understand what it's all about.
All right. And it's organized to do that. And it is a very psychological book. Its purpose is mind training. Its purpose is to retrain our minds to everyone and everything in the world. Okay. Intriguing already, isn't it? Let's see how he goes about doing that. I also wanted to note on page 9, do you see at the very top, it says, although Christian in statement, the course deals with universal spiritual themes. Did any of you notice that? And isn't that true in your experience?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Let me, Karen, just to tell you what I mean, no place on earth is ever mentioned in 1,300 pages. So the whole discussion, while it's Christian in the language, it's not going to be traditional Christianity, the way it's been taught in traditional churches, if Christian churches. The other thing it mentions in that same paragraph, it says it emphasizes that it is but one version of the universal curriculum. There are many others. What is a universal curriculum? What's a curriculum?
Plan. I would
Right?
say it's a plan, an outline.
Okay. It's a plan, it's a course of study. If you want to be an engineer, there is a curriculum or a course of study that you go through at university or a school that you would go to.
Mhm.
What about this statement? There are many others. Well, maybe, Karen, that remains to be seen. But what would the rest of you, the experienced course students, say? What does he mean that there are many others as that are teaching the same curriculum? Isn't that what he's saying?
Yes, I think so. I can't think of specific names, but there are other philosophies, if you will, or
Okay.
Well, I mean,
stories.
Mhm.
I've read several others, Jim, like Seth
Yeah.
Speaks. I don't know if you heard of Seth Speaks. It's a
Yeah,
channel book. A channel book.
Seth books from what, many years ago for
Very
me.
similar to Unity.
Yeah, I started out reading those. Hilda, you had a comment as well?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, there are the different, actually different avenues, but when you think about like what is being taught in Hinduism and Buddhism, in all sorts of other larger and small, or Islam, or
Yeah.
the whole idea is to it's like a lesson plan for us to follow or to use uh, to complete the course of our life
Okay.
from cradle to the grave, as they say.
Okay.
It's kind of like like how to, how to live, and how is
Okay.
what is happening in our life. I mean, to know that we're on earth and that we born and we die and all the other stuff that is in the middle. But it's a plan on how to live your life.
Okay.
And words may be different, but the meaning is most likely the same no matter where you, what you use.
Okay.
What kind of philosophy, what kind of religion you follow. It's really
Right.
all boils down to the same thing.
And you'll find many of these same messages, not just in A Course in Miracles, but in all the other religions too.
Yes. Yes.
The problem seems to be that they have a core message, but over time, they make it into a religion where they add other things to that core message. But what's being said here to me is that this universal curriculum is being taught everywhere. But Karen, are you a Bible student at all?
I've never, I've only studied a couple sections of the Bible,
Okay, here.
but I mean, I grew up with all the readings.
Okay.
I'm sure many of them I missed because they only do certain parts. But no, I've never, not like the Baptists. Those people, they know what to quote.
Well,
Man, you know it.
the phrase that's coming out to me is that Jesus would always say, let those who have eyes see and those who have ears hear. So there can be things going on that you were not aware of, but something can change in you that makes you aware of things you didn't pay attention to before. It's kind of like, when you get a new car and all of a sudden you notice all the other cars like yours, but you didn't even notice them before. So the spooky thing that he's saying here is that this message is being taught everywhere all the time, and you just didn't realize it before. But we're going to show you that from the Catholic religion to the Muslim religion to the Hindu religion, but also that song you happen to hear on the radio when you were driving, and something in that song resonated with you. This is how widespread this teaching is that's going on everywhere all the time. We just weren't aware of it before. So now we'll use A Course in Miracles as one way to explain this universal curriculum. Why do you need a curriculum? Well, why would you go to college and follow a curriculum? To graduate, right? So the world is a teaching device. The world is a lesson. We started out maybe before the recording. Did I tell you that a prominent feature of this, what we're going to talk about, is based on the premise that the world is an illusion?
Right.
It's not real. So you don't seem to find that too shocking, so I won't spend a lot of time. Anything else before we continue? You remember where we left off?
Good question.
It
Is it
says the text is largely theoretical.
yeah, I think so.
Yes.
Go ahead, Cheryl, and it's your turn.
Oh, is it? Okay. The text is largely theoretical and sets forth the concepts on which the course's thought system is based. Its ideas contain the foundation for the workbook's lessons. Without the practical application the workbook provides, the text would remain largely a series of abstractions, which would hardly suffice to bring about the thought reversal at which the course aims.
Yeah.
The workbook,
Mm-hmm.
you want me to?
Yeah.
The
Go ahead.
workbook includes 365 lessons, one for each day of the year. It is not necessary, however, to do the lessons at that tempo, and one might want to remain with a particularly appealing lesson for more than one day. The instructions urge only that not more than one lesson a day should be attempted. Practical nature of the workbook is underscored by the introduction to its lessons, which emphasizes experience through application rather than a prior commitment to a spiritual goal.
You want to go on to Ron, or you good? Ron, you want to read?
Sure. Some of the ideas the workbook presents you will find hard to believe, and others may seem to be quite startling. This does not matter. You are merely asked to apply the ideas as you are directed to do. You are not asked to judge them at all. You are asked only to use them. It is their use that will give them meaning to you and will show you that they are true. Remember only this: you need not believe the ideas, you need not accept them, and you need not even welcome them. Some of them you may actively resist. None of this will matter or decrease their efficacy. But do not allow yourself to make exceptions in applying the ideas the workbook contains, and whatever your reactions to the ideas may be, use them. Nothing more than that is required. Workbook page 2.
What's efficacy mean? See that word in that?
Yes.
To produce the desired results.
All right.
Yeah.
You must have wrote that down from last year or something.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Say it again, Hilda. Hilda,
I beg your pardon?
say it again.
The efficacy means to produce the desired result.
Okay.
Okay.
The ability to produce the desired results. So it's saying that whether you believe the ideas or not, whether you like them or don't like them, put that, however you feel about it, just try it, right?
Right.
And if you try it, it'll work, whether you like it or not. So that's why the word efficacy, the ability to produce the result, has nothing to do with whether you like it or not, or even whether it makes sense to you. Let's, anything else before we go on? All right, Ron, wait, didn't you who just read? I'm
Ron.
confused.
Ron.
I
Ellen
did. Yes,
All right.
I did.
Yes.
Hey, let me get in the mixed in
Yeah, your turn.
next section. Finally, the manual for teachers, which is written in question and answer form, provides answers to some of the more likely questions a student might ask. It also includes a clarification of a number of the terms the course uses, explaining them within the theoretical framework of the course. The course makes no claim to finality, nor are the workbook lessons intended to bring the student's learning to completion. At the end, the reader is left in the hands of his or her own internal teacher, who will direct all subsequent learning as he sees fit. While the course is comprehensive in scope, truth cannot be limited to any finite form, as is clearly recognized in the statement at the end of the workbook. This course is a beginning, not an end. No more specific lessons are assigned, for there is no more need of them. Henceforth, hear but the voice for God. What's another name for that? All the experts. Who's the
Holy
voice for
Spirit.
God?
Holy
Holy
Spirit.
Spirit.
the Spirit.
Okay. So, Karen, you know about the Holy Spirit. This
Yeah.
is the voice for God in the illusion. Okay. God's not in the illusion because God's not crazy.
Right.
But
Right.
he needed to take care of his kids. So he gave them an emissary to help them in the illusion. All right, we covered the voice for God. He will direct your efforts, telling you exactly what to do, how to direct your mind, and when to come to him in silence, asking for his sure direction and his certain word. And there's a voice in your head. Do you agree?
Yeah. Yes.
Uh, that's nice. But our problem is we have two voices in our head.
Right.
That's not natural, especially when the two voices are at counterpoint. They're telling you opposite things. Like one voice says, they attack me, I should smack them. And the other voice says, no, don't smack them. That's not going to be productive. Which voice do you follow? So it's that kind of debate in ministry that all day long there's trying to make the right choice. Why do we have two voices? Well, we're going to find out. Jesus is going to help us understand what the heck happened. Anything anyone else want to say here before we get into this last section? All right, then we're back to Frank, right?
What it says, nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. This is how A Course in Miracles began. It makes a fundamental direction between the real and the unreal, between knowledge and perception. Knowledge of truth, of the law of the love of God, love for God, unalterable, eternal, and unambiguous. It can be unrecognized, but it cannot be changed. It applies to everything that God created, and only what He created is real. It is beyond learning because it's beyond time and process. It has no opposite, no beginning, and no end. It surely is. The world of perception, on the other hand, is the world of time, of change, of beginnings and endings. It is based on interpretation, not on facts. It is the world of birth and death, founded on the belief in scarcity, loss, separation, and death. It is learned rather than given, selective in its perceptual emphasis, unstable in its functioning, and inaccurate in its interpretations.
Shall I continue, Frank? We're up to Karen.
Yeah.
You'll have to unmute yourself. I muted you while you and Olivia were going there.
Yeah. From knowledge and perception, respectively, two distinct thought systems arise which are opposite in every respect. In the realm of knowledge, no thought exists apart from God, because God and His creation share one will. The world of perception, however, is made by the belief in opposites and separate wills, in perpetual conflict with each other and with God. What perception sees and hears appears to be real because it permits into awareness only what conforms to the wishes of the perceptor. This leads to a world of illusions, a world which needs constant defense precisely because it is not real.
Yeah. So already you see now we're talking about the world is not real, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Comments from anyone? And we'll continue with Hilda.
When you have been caught in the world of perception, you are caught in a dream. You cannot escape without help because everything your senses show merely witnesses to the reality of the dream. God has provided the answer, the only way out, the true helper. It is the function of His voice, His Holy Spirit, to mediate between the two worlds. He can do this because, while on the one hand He knows the truth, on the other hand, He also recognizes our illusions, but without believing in them. It is the Holy Spirit's goal to help us escape from the dream the dream world by teaching us how to reverse our thinking and unlearn our mistakes. Forgiveness is the Holy Spirit's great learning aid in bringing this thought reversal about. However, the Course has its own definition of what forgiveness really is, just as it defines the world in its own way.
Thanks, Hilda. By the way, for those that have been through this before, isn't this a great summary of what you've come to learn and see it taught in the rest of this course?
Yes.
So,
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I've been doing this like 20 years or something. And every year it it doesn't get boring. I used to tell people I've been studying A Course in Miracles. It's a book for like 5 years. And they're looking at me going like, you must be a really slow reader. But as you'll see, or these other people can attest, Karen, you won't get tired of this book. It will be perennially challenging and satisfying as you gain these insights and go, yeah, that makes sense. It makes more sense than what I used to think made sense. So that is the efficacy of this teaching tool, that it's like the words are the same every year. So the book didn't change, you change. So it's a joy to do this study for me every year. Are we up to?
I think it's me.
All right, you go ahead, Cheryl. Thank
Okay.
you.
The world we see merely reflects our own internal frame of reference, the dominant ideas, wishes, and emotions in our minds. Projection makes perception. We look inside first, decide the kind of world we want to see, and then project that world outside, making it the truth as we see it. We make it true by our interpretations of what it is we are seeing. If we are using perception to justify our own mistakes, our anger, our impulses to attack, our lack of love in whatever form it may take, we will see a world of evil, destruction, malice, envy, and despair. All this we must learn to forgive, not because we are being good and charitable, but because we are seeing is what we are seeing is not true. We have distorted the world by our twisted defenses and are therefore seeing what is not there. As we learn to recognize our perceptual errors, we also learn to look past them or forgive. At the same time, we are forgiving ourselves, looking past our distorted self concepts to the self that God created in us and as us.
You want to stop? Let's go to Ron then.
Okay.
Sin is defined as lack of love. Text, page 11. Since love is all there is, sin in the sight of the Holy Spirit is a mistake to be corrected rather than an evil to be punished. Our sense of inadequacy, weakness, and incompletion comes from the strong investment in the scarcity principle that governs the whole world of illusions. From that point of view, we seek in others what we feel is wanting in ourselves. We love another in order to get something ourselves. That, in fact, is what passes for love in the dream world. There can be no greater mistake than that, for love is incapable of asking for anything.
Comments from anyone?
So the love that we have for other people is usually relies on something we want in return, something we want back, whether we're aware of it or not.
Yeah.
If we do something for somebody and they don't do something back for us, we tend to get upset with that because we're doing this to get something. We're loving, I love you, so I will get something back from you. And I'm expecting to get something back from you.
Yeah.
And if I don't get it back, I'm blaming you, and you
Yeah.
become the sinner. Really, it's the person that's expecting something because they love somebody who is the true sinner. in my opinion.
Yeah. What is this thing called love? It's like the thing everyone is seeking, but it's so hard to find. And even when you find it, it's not always an easy road, because a lot of times, even when you find that special someone and you get married to live happily ever after, you'll find that that ever after isn't all happy. What is this thing called love where everyone wants it, but even when you get it, it's not completely satisfying? No offense. I mean, people have been together for years and years and years, but even then, the ride of love has its ups and downs, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
You ever thought about why love is so elusive? Why it doesn't seem to always live up to its expectations? Well, Jesus is going to tell us why,
The
right?
ego gets in the way.
What we call love isn't really love. That's why it doesn't satisfy. And that's one of the major themes that we're going to be talking about in our study of A Course in Miracles. How about this statement we're on page 11? Sin is defined as lack of love, but then it says, since love is all there is. I'd be interested, did that strike you odd, Miss Grobel? Love is all there is. You can go with a yes or no for now. I don't want to put you on the spot, but that sounds odd, doesn't it? If you, I mean, maybe it sounds nice. Maybe it sounds poetic, but all there is? Well, wait a minute. I love, but then there are times when I don't love. There are times when I'm angry. What do you mean love is all there is? So again, just some intriguing things to set up anticipation for the study. Let's finish this up here. We've got time and we'll be on schedule. I've got I think I'll read next, right? I'm at
Yeah.
page 12. Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Only minds can really join, and whom God has joined, no man can put asunder. It is, however, only at the level of Christ's mind that true union is possible and has, in fact, never been lost. What's never been lost?
Love.
No,
No.
No.
no, no, you just said it before. I'm trying to trip you up here. Right after Christ's mind, that true union is possible, right?
Fine.
True union has, in fact, never been lost, right?
That's
Right.
right.
Okay.
Only it's lost when you forget your source.
Beautiful. I think this newbie's going to be all right. What do y'all think?
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
The little I seeks to enhance itself by external approval, external possessions, and external quote unquote love. The self that God created needs nothing.
Nothing.
It is forever complete, safe, loved, and loving. It seeks to share rather than to get, to extend rather than project. It has no needs and wants to join with others out of their mutual awareness of abundance. So we're back to Frank, right?
Right. The special relationships of the world are destructive. Excuse me, I'm having a vision problem. Are destructive, selfish, and childishly egocentric. Yet it is given to the Holy Spirit that relationship can become the holiest things on earth, the miracles that point the way to the return in heaven. The world uses the special relationships as a final weapon of exclusion and demonstration of separateness. The Holy Spirit transforms them into perfect lessons in forgiveness and in awakening from the dream. Each one is an opportunity to let perceptions be healed and errors corrected. Each one is another chance to forgive oneself by forgiving the other. And each one becomes still another invitation to the Holy Spirit and the remembrance of God.
Thanks, Frank. Karen, you're next. Yeah.
Perception is a function of the body and therefore represents a limit on awareness. Perception sees through the body's eyes and ears, through the body's ears. I'm sorry. Perception sees through the body's eyes and ears, though the body's ears.
Read that one more time. I think you'll get it.
Perception sees through the body's eyes and ears, through the body's. Oh, okay. And here, sorry, through the body's ears. It evokes the limited responses which the body makes. The body appears to be largely self-motivated and independent, yet it actually responds only to the intentions of the mind. If the mind wants to use it for attack in any form, it becomes prey to sickness, age, and decay. If the mind accepts the Holy Spirit's purpose for its instead, it becomes a useful way of communicating with others, invulnerable as long as it is needed, and to be gently laid by when its use is over. Of itself, it is neutral, as is everything in the world of perception. Whether it is used for the goals of the ego or the Holy Spirit depends entirely on what the mind wants.
Yeah. Thank you, Karen. Hilda? You ready, Hilda? Aren't you our next
Yeah.
reader?
Yeah.
Right. The opposite of seeing through the body's eyes is the vision of Christ, which reflects strength rather than weakness, unity rather than separation, and love rather than fear. The opposite of hearing through the body's ears is communication through the voice for God, the Holy Spirit, which abides in each of us. His voice seems distant and difficult to hear because the ego, which speaks for the little separated self, seems to be much louder. This is actually reversed. The Holy Spirit speaks with unmistakable clarity and overwhelming appeal. No one who does not choose to identify with the body could possibly be deaf to his messages of release and hope, nor could he fail to accept joyously the vision of Christ in glad exchange for his miserable picture of himself. Christ's vision is the Holy Spirit's gift, God's alternative to the illusion of separation and to the belief in the reality of sin, guilt, and death. It is the one correction for all errors of perception, the reconciliation of the seeming opposites on which this world is based. Its kindly light shows all things from another point of view, reflecting the thought system that arises from knowledge and making a return to God not only possible but inevitable. What was regarded as injustices done to one by someone else now become a call for help and for union. Sin, thickness, and attack are seen as misperceptions calling for remedy from gentleness and love. Defenses are laid down because there is no attack. There is no need for them. Our brothers' needs become our own because they are taking the journey with us as we go to God. Without us, they would lose their way. Without them, we could never find our own.
Thank you. And Sherilyn, you want to finish?
Okay, forgiveness is unknown in heaven, where the need for it would be inconceivable. However, in this world, forgiveness is a necessary correction for all the mistakes that we have made. To offer forgiveness is the only way for us to have it, for it reflects the law of heaven that giving and receiving are the same. Heaven is the natural state of all the sons of God as He created them. Such is their reality forever. It has not changed because it has been forgotten. Forgiveness is the means by which we will remember. Through forgiveness, the thinking of the world is reversed. The forgiven world becomes the gate of heaven because by its mercy we can at last forgive ourselves. Holding no one prisoner to guilt, we become free. Acknowledging Christ in all our brothers, we recognize His presence in ourselves. Forgetting all our misperceptions and with nothing from the past to hold us, we can remember God. Beyond this, learning cannot go. When we are ready, God Himself will take the final step in our return to Him.
Comments or questions?
Beautiful.
Yeah. So let's go on a little bit further into the text to read the text introduction. So what I want you to do is you can go into page 3 of the text and then flip
Go
to
back
page
one.
backwards. Yeah, because the introduction is not numbered. We're looking for, it just says introduction. Everybody there?
Yes.
Yep.
So before we close tonight, Ron, could you read that introduction?
Absolutely. This is A Course in Miracles. It is a required course. Only the time you take it is voluntary. Free will does not mean that you can establish the curriculum. It means only that you can elect what you want to take at a given time. The course does not aim at teaching the meaning of love, for that is beyond what can be taught. It does aim, however, at removing the blocks to the awareness of love's presence, which is your natural inheritance. The opposite of love is fear, but what is all-encompassing can have no opposite. This course can therefore be summed up very simply in this way. Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God.
Okay. So this, Karen, is, I don't know, with the supplements, maybe 1,300 pages. But in summary, paragraph 2, nothing real can be threatened, and nothing unreal exists, no matter how real it looks. Okay. And that, wouldn't you say that's an appropriate summary to finding the peace of God? What would you say if you knew you were living in an educational hologram, one that is designed to teach you something that is vital? Would you fight it?
No.
I think if you weren't aware, you would fight it.
What if you are aware?
And I think that it's,
I want to be a good student if I
yeah.
was convinced that I was in a classroom or in a curriculum. And so once you understand that, it gives us a whole different take on why I'm here, doesn't it? So let's see what this curriculum is and whether it makes sense and whether it gives you the peace of God. Now, on your study schedule, tonight we were supposed to finish the preface, which we did. And then tomorrow you were supposed to read the introduction to the text, but we covered that tonight, okay? So tomorrow, all you need to do is read the introduction to the workbook, and that's on page 1 of the workbook for students. So let's just go there and we'll close. But here's the thing, Karen, if you haven't noticed yet, these are 3 books in one. The
Right.
text is so they all, the page numbers start over,
Yeah.
right? So tomorrow you'll be on page 1 of the introduction. But before we go, look at page 3 in the workbook. That's the first workbook lesson, isn't it? And so, well, quite frankly, I think I should just stop here. Uh, I think we'll do a day at a time. And Karen, give me a call or send me a text or something. More than happy to help you along as needed. Anything the rest of you want to offer tonight? Okay. Um, some of these folks have been through this a few times. Quite frankly, I've been going through this book since around, well, we started this schedule in 2010. So what is that, 14 times? Still smiling, right? All right. We always close our sessions with the prayer of protection.
Okay.
Hilda will lead us in this, and she'll say the first part, and then we'll join in whether you'll see how it works. Hilda, you ready?
Absolutely.
Good deal.
When you stay free.
The light of God surrounds us.
Did you wash your hair?
The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. I am the light of God.
I am the
I
light.
am the light of God.
I am the love of God.
I am.
I am the
Love
love
of
of
God.
God.
I am the power of God.
I
I
am
am
the
the
power
power of
of
God.
God.
I am the presence of God.
I
I
am.
am the presence of God.
God.
Therefore,
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 wherever I am,
wherever
Wherever
I
I
am,
am,
God
God
is,
is.
God
I
is.
is,
and all is
And,
well.
and
and
all
God
is
is.
well.
There is nothing to fear.
there is
There
There
nothing.
is
is
nothing
nothing to
to fear.
fear.
There is only love.
There is
There is
only
only love.
love.
Namaste.
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 All is well. What a comfort to know that we're at home in God, having this wonderful educational dream. And we're all waiting to wake up and find ourselves safe and sound home again. And we'll say, like Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz,
There's no place like home.
isn't that the most wonderful movie you've ever seen with the happiest ending? So we'll give Jesus a chance to explain. Have a good evening, my friends.
Thank you.
Good
Thank
night.
you, Jim.
And
Thank
soon.
you.
Thank you, Jim.
All right.
Welcome, Karen.
Love.